On a red-eye flight cutting through the black sky above the Atlantic, seat 12F was just another cramped window seat. Just another tired passenger. Just another black single dad quietly holding a folded American flag in his hands. Flight attendants walked past him. Passengers glanced, then looked away. No one asked why his fingers shook every time he opened that flag. No one noticed the faint letters stitched on the inside corner. 30,000 feet below, in the dark airspace over the ocean, two F-22 fighter pilots received an unusual radio transmission. Steelbird. "Is that you?" And in seat 12F, the man everyone ignored, opened his eyes. The plane hummed with that low, heavy sound you only hear at cruising altitude. Most of the cabin was half asleep with screens glowing, soft snores, and plastic cups with melting ice. In 12F sat Malik Johnson, 42 black, exhausted. His hoodie was faded and his jeans were creased from wear, not fashion. A cheap wristwatch clung to his arm like it was holding on to time for him. On his lap was a neatly folded American flag, triangle point perfect. He held it like it was the only thing he brought with him that mattered. To his left, in 12E, sat his 10-year-old daughter, Amara. Her hair was tied into two fuzzy puffs, one lopsided from sleeping against his shoulder. She wore a backpack shaped like a cartoon astronaut, the straps frayed at the edges. "Daddy, are we almost there?" she whispered, eyes heavy but curious. "Almost, baby," he murmured, forcing a smile. "Just close your eyes. We'll be home before the sun gets up, because tonight, home wasn't the place they left, and it wasn't exactly the place they were going." 2 rows ahead, a businessman in a pressed white shirt tapped on his laptop, annoyed at the slight turbulence. Across the aisle, a couple scrolled through photos of beach sunsets on their phones. Malik's phone had a cracked screen, battery at 2%, airplane mode. Earlier, at the gate, people had stared not at him but at the flag. One man whispered, "Must be one of those ceremony flags. Wonder who he lost." No one asked, and no one really wanted to know. Malik liked it that way. Silence was safer than pity. But there were clues, tiny and almost invisible. The way he didn't flinch at turbulence and the way his eyes scanned exits without thinking. The dog tags under his shirt held one name he rubbed unconsciously. Johnson M. The plane dimmed further into night mode. Somewhere over the Atlantic, 2 F-22 Raptors sliced through clouds, invisible to everyone on board except one man who used to command skies like this. In 12F, Malik felt something. A hum in his bones, not from the engines but from memory. He closed his eyes and suddenly he wasn't a single dad and coach. He was Captain Malik Steelbird Johnson, United States Air Force, and the war he never talked about had followed him into the sky. 30 minutes into the flight, the captain's voice came calmly over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached our cruising altitude of 36,000 feet. We're expecting a smooth ride." But Malik wasn't listening. Something in the engine's rhythm felt off, not dangerous but different. He'd spent thousands of hours in the air and pilots develop a sixth sense. He looked out the small oval window into blackness punctured by distant stars. Then turbulence hit harder and Amara jolted awake. "Daddy, it's okay," he soothed, hand on her back. "Just a bump in the road." The seatbelt sign dinged on, the businessman stopped typing, and the couple held hands. A flight attendant walked briskly, steady but tense. Malik watched her eyes because professionals show truth there first. Minutes later, the captain's voice returned, no longer calm. "We're experiencing more turbulence than expected due to some unexpected air traffic ahead." Unexpected air traffic over the Atlantic at 3 a.m. made Malik frown. He knew this air corridor and where fighters should or shouldn't be. He glanced at the wing and saw a flash, then another. Not lightning-patterned and purposeful. Military. He touched his dog tags beneath his hoodie. Malik leaned into the aisle to ask about course changes. "Sir, you'll need to keep your seatbelt on," she said. He recognized that tone. The cockpit was busy. Amara gripped his hand. "Daddy, I don't like this." Unexpected traffic, fighter flashes, busy cockpit. There was only one reason fighters would be this close. They were checking something or someone. The lights flickered and the cabin inhaled as one. Prayers whispered and call buttons clicked. Malik's heart pounded from responsibility, not fear. Sometimes fighters weren't protecting skies, they were looking for someone. Someone with a call sign. Steelbird. Far below, Lieutenant Elena Ruiz checked radar. Command said if Malik Steelbird Johnson was on that flight, they should confirm and pay respects. Dust, heat, engines, alarms, and a mission gone sideways. He remembered the missile warning, the explosion, and losing his hearing. He remembered choosing to turn back into danger to save another pilot. He pulled Walker out alive but didn't walk away the same. After landing, questions turned to accusations. Heroism became reckless behavior, disciplinary review, discharged without court-martial or apology. Just a folded flag and a thank you letter. He never flew again except in economy seats with his daughter. "Daddy?" Amara whispered. He forced a smile as the intercom chimed again. The captain spoke emotionally about Air Force contact. He said the flight carried a former pilot who saved lives including his own. Malik froze as attention shifted toward 12F, Captain Malik Johnson. Call sign Steelbird. He clutched the flag as silence filled the cabin. The Air Force had never properly honored him. "Look at the right side," the captain said. 2 F-22s appeared and dipped their wings. Walker's voice came over the intercom apologizing for 8 years of silence. Malik's eyes filled. Amara whispered, "Daddy, they're here for you." Hadn't seen in him. People stood and thanked him. A flight attendant approached with watery eyes calling him Captain Johnson. Walker spoke about unseen missions and forgotten heroes. A fighter rolled to show painted words. "Daddy, what does it say?" Amara asked. Malik leaned in, flag with new meaning. The fighters stayed a while before disappearing into the dark. The cabin shifted from indifference to respect. Landing brought no cameras or parades, just humbled passengers. Some shook hands, some nodded apologies. At the gate, Walker waded out of uniform. He saluted Malik and Malik returned the gesture. They laughed softly. Amara asked if he would fly again. He looked at the sky changing colors. People on the flight had seen only a tired dad in 12F. They didn't see the service, missions, or sacrifices, until truth finds them again, sometimes in jets, sometimes in a thank you.